Hi, welcome to this video about the at-home activity for younger learners in the Aquatic Macroinvertebrates unit. This is sorting and classifying aquatic macroinvertebrates. So in order to start this activity, you'll need to print out the directions and the aquatic macros cards. I pre-cut all these cards. You can do it yourself or you can have your learners do it. You're also going to want some scrap paper or post-its or index cards and some kind of writing implement. I have a Sharpie, but you could use a crayon, a marker, or even a pen, or even a pencil. Then if you think your learners like to record in their nature journal, if they like to record their thinking, you'll want to have that, plus a pencil. I found when I was doing this with young people, it was fun to also have a hand lens to look more closely at the aquatic macro cards as you are sorting and classifying. So once you have all of this, you're ready to start sorting and classifying. Now, one caveat with this activity is it's not designed to be closed-ended, which means the idea is more the thinking process and less the outcome. So with that in mind, let's move some of these supplies off to the side, and we're going to take a look at a couple of different ways that you might want to sort and classify these macros with your young people. And I would encourage you to let your learners drive this process. But one way you might be able to sort and classify is to just spread them out on the table. There's quite a lot of them. Spread them out. Have your young person or young people, because this is actually better with a partner, whether that's you and your young person or two young people or your child and a friend, whatever. It works better when there's partners. Oh, and I forgot to mention in the beginning, I recommend that you do this at-home activity before you go on the field trip, only because it gives them a little bit of a preview of the creatures that they're going to be finding at the creek or stream. And for some young people, this is kind of helpful. When they're there, they know what to think, they know what to look for. And so I think that's actually one of the big benefits of doing this activity full stop, but also specifically doing it before you go to the field trip's location to do your field trip. All right, so that being said, these are all spread out, and now you're going to take a look at each of these creatures. Your young people can kind of just look at them, talk through what they notice about them, what they wonder about them. They're going to have fun looking closely at each of these creatures with the hand lens. You can see a lot of detail. These are great images that although I made them into these little cards on the document, you can get them for free at macroinvertebrates.org. And I'll be giving you a little tour of that site at the end of this lesson. Okay, so let's continue. So for the youngest learners, you can say, okay, let's make a pile. Let's see what each of these things remind you of. What do each of these things look like? So I made a card that says looks like a, and then somebody will probably pick something up and say, oh, this looks like a bug. So you might write a card that has the word bug on it, and then under the bug card, you and your learners can put the ones that you think looks like a bug. So I'm just going to do a few of those now. Okay, so next you can say, okay, so what other creatures of the ones we have left, what do you think they look like? All right, somebody suggests, well, this one looks like a worm. And then you can separate them out into that category. All right, so you have a bunch that are left that we haven't categorized left, and so you can ask your learner, say, what else do you see here? What does it look like? And somebody might say, oh, I can see something that looks like a shell or a sea creature. And so you can write a category that has shell or sea creature on it, and then have them sort them. Again, it doesn't really matter what these category labels are. It's the process of thinking, looking, and observing. All right, so we have these few, and I'm pretending these few These few are the ones that we don't know how to categorize. So maybe your learners want to just put them into whichever bucket they think they most closely resemble, or maybe you have a pile that's just like a question mark pile, and you can actually write a card for that too. I have a general one that I wrote earlier that says, hey, you know what, we don't know what these are. We want to look them up on macroinvertebrates.org. So next I'm going to show you macroinvertebrates.org, excuse me. I did also include a couple of other idea sparkers up here on how to sort these macros, which you're welcome to use or not use. Again, the point is to do the thinking and the observing, not necessarily to get anything correct in terms of what category you're sorting these things into. And then it's nice after you're done with this activity at home, go out to the stream, do the field trip, and maybe you can see how many of these you found in your local stream. So that's it for the activity. Next, I'm going to give you a brief preview of macroinvertebrates.org.